Hey again, everybody. Following up from my first video I did about the start of my eating disorder, I thought I'd come and do the second part from when I came out of my hospital admission. So here goes. So after I came out of my hospital admission, it kind of felt strange being able to move about again freely. As obviously being in hospital admission, I wasn't allowed to hardly move whatsoever in case I burnt off a calorie at all. So it was quite freeing to be able to just go for a walk when I felt like it without having to fear I'm being watched for any sign of movement. But when it comes to the eating, I managed to stick with the routine that they provided for me to start with, I guess. But after a week or two, I had to start dropping a few of the snacks because I felt like I was becoming more of a sugar addiction, as they seemed to just wanted to give me fat and sugar to play with my blood levels and put on the 0.9 kilos of weight a week that they were aiming for, or if that was happened in 2 weeks, they'd always up your meal plan or add on more snacks. So it's a relief getting away from all that. But yeah, it was hard coming out of hospital and trying to adjust back into the real world. I went back to part-time work after a few weeks of being out, and that was pretty tough going. And I did find myself looking at what I ate a bit more, and I didn't eat too much on my lunch breaks, and I think it led to me dropping a bit of weight while I was still working, and I think that played into my eating disorder a little bit in respect of giving me somewhere to be that I could avoid eating in a way. But I pushed on with the work and finished that contract, started another job as well, and that was sort of like more manual labour sort of work, and it was quite cold at times. My body did struggle to adjust to that, and fortunately I couldn't carry on with it because I was just solidly cold all the time, and kept getting ill, unfortunately. But I managed to get another job shortly after inside sort of stores environment, and that sort of went quite well. But I was restricting more during the course of that role, and it became quite noticeable after several months, and I did start to feel quite unwell and was struggling to get around, do the job, and I just was solidly cold. It's just so strange being cold all the time. I know some people might think that sounds weird, but I was just cold solidly, and it used to take hours to be able to warm up, only to get cold again pretty soon after. So it just wasn't a enjoyable way to be living, so I had to leave that role, unfortunately, which was a shame. But my health was deteriorating so much from it that I needed to try and work on my physical and mental health to a strong degree quite soon. And it was hard being able to get that ball rolling, and it did take quite a long time of sort of like stop start, and inevitably I didn't get much progress, and I did have to seek some extra support, and thankfully I found a counselling support group through Mind, and it was very beneficial to be around other people who are going through eating disorders, whether that be anorexia, binge eating, bulimia and such. But it was nice to be able to share some of my thoughts and feelings and worries and know that I wasn't alone. So that was a very advantageous position to be in at the time, and I managed to stick with that for the full year, and I can say I came out better having been through it, and I did see some change in my habits and appetite increasing gradually. I did end up having the period of extreme hunger, which was a complete shock and was quite fear-inducing, as I didn't know what was going on. I was literally eating everything and everything in quite quick succession, but not just at one time during the day. It could go on for like several hours, morning, afternoon and evening, and I was probably putting in between 5,000 to 7,000 calories a day for a couple of weeks, and I felt awful. No other word to describe that, and I wasn't prepared for that to come, because I wasn't advised by anyone in the hospital, GP, mental health team who dealt with me that this would happen. So I had to ask others in the group about it and see if was this normal, and thankfully some of them said yes, this could be your body saying, hold on, there's food available, you haven't fed me for quite a while sufficiently, I'm taking as much as I can. So it's like the feast or famine. It didn't want to go into starvation and malnutrition mode again, so my body just, yeah, bloated quite impressively at times, I have to say, which was pretty worrying, and did give quite bad feelings of like body dysmorphia to go along with that. And all I wanted to do was exercise to try and counteract what was going on. And I did keep sort of walking. I know I can't run very well or hardly at all due to having osteoporosis and the pain it causes in my hips and knees when I try and run, but I'm still hoping with time that will change. And yeah, from that I managed to get a level of routine when the extreme hunger phase passed, but it was more reduced, and I have to say it was leading to me being a bit more calorie conscious again and starting to cut out some other foods that I probably shouldn't have done, and looking at all the low fat options again, and then not thinking about all the nutritional value of what's going inside me, just thinking about what's got 0% fat again, and not paying attention to the ingredient list and seeing all of the extras, additives and preservatives going into these things that my body will probably not be agreeing with, and obviously cause stomach issues. So it's been a real battle from that respect, and still fighting on until this day really. And I have started some other courses and help with my condition, and had some really kind and generous people around to show their support and encourage me, and I'll always be very appreciative of that. But yeah, if anyone else has got any recommendations, stories, advice, anything whatsoever about how they got through some of the more challenging times in their eating disorders, I'll be always happy to hear from you in the comments, and I'll always comment back. But that's the second part, and there'll be one more part to come for the recent year. And yeah, thanks again for taking the time to watch the video. Remember to look after yourself. Your recovery is always worth it, and there's always someone to reach out to in your time of need. Support's always out there, and you're worth the recovery again. Bye for now.